Hey guys, it's Holly, so don't mind me. I completely forgot to film an intro properly for this, so I'm going to do this instead. So the other day I managed to pick up some of the brand new Lego City road plates, and I've kind of been on the fence about them. Honestly, I didn't know whether or not I would like them. I was kind of conflicted about the fact that they were brick built, but honestly, after building them, I really liked them. But the one problem is, I don't have a Lego City. So today I'm going to try and get these Lego City road plates to work for me. Now, of course, because I am a massive Harry Potter fan, the best method I could really think of to do this was to take my good old Privet Drive house and try and make, Privet Drive the actual street itself. And it was a kind of long process, not quite as long as the mini street that I created with a bunch of my buildings just for fun, but it was a kind of long process. So I thought I would kind of show you through my mock and my solution to kind of get these road plates to actually work for me. So I hope you enjoy. Okay, so here is the finished project. I haven't honestly had to add too many things. I basically used 2 green plates up at Privet Drive, a bunch of dark grey tiles, a lot of plants as well to kind of make Aunt Petunia's garden look a bit more lively than just the bush. I also added the little Privet Drive sign, which looks really good, and then tried to kind of fill out the opposite end of the street because unfortunately I don't have enough houses to make a giant street, which honestly I think this would look absolutely amazing for. I also tried to utilize the street lamps as Privet Drive is a residential area, which I honestly think looks really cool, and for this I only wanted to use 2 plates. One is way too short, and unless you probably put the curves on either end, but I just think 2 kind of makes it look like a bit more of a complete street, especially since the Privet Drive sign isn't directly across the street from number 4. Now ideally as well, Privet Drive would have a garage and a car, and probably the front lawn would be a bit longer to make it movie accurate. You'd also have a little fence on the right hand side with a dangling chain, but I'm really happy with how this turned out. I just think it kind of needs a bit more greenery, and honestly I wish there were more of these longer green plates included in the road plates. That way I wouldn't have this weird gap here. Now also with these greenery ones, I kind of had to rearrange the way that the actual plates and tiles were set up to make it work. So as you can see, I've got the 2 2x4s here, and then I just had to rearrange the 1x2s just to make it look a bit more connected, as I do have that lamppost right in the middle, which is kind of why I did that. Also with the Privet Drive sign, I took the jumper plates off their original plate, and also with the Privet Drive sign, I took the jumpers off its original base and then just stuck it on the end of the other one of those kind of plant pieces from the road, and it looks really good. At the ends we do have those curved slope pieces just to kind of finish it off, and then if you look up the front here, you can see kind of where that plate ends from the actual Privet Drive house, as these were in a dark tan and then an olive green at the front, whereas a lot of the road plates use a bright green, so I did want to kind of tie that into across the street. I also just didn't have any of those olive green plates, so the bright ones were the way to go, and these are made up of 2 separate ones, and I've attached it at a moment of the kind of road plate so that it has 3 different connection joints. You have 1 in the center and 2 on either side, just to make it a bit more secure and sturdy when moving kind of this little mock and display around. As you can see in Aunt Petunia's garden, it's pretty basic. Honestly, I didn't do too much to kind of connect the base plate to the one of the house. I did use a brown plate to just stick that on, which kind of made the garden look a bit more lively, using it as soil. Then I just added a bunch of flowers and plants and leaf pieces. I've got 1 jumper there for the flowers to sit on, and kind of made that all around the little bush at the front, as well as the kind of flower bed, which unfortunately is now hidden at the back. On the opposing side, to kind of connect that plate to it, I did also use another one of those brown ones, as well as some dark tan jumpers so I could stick some flowers on. I wish I had 3 flowers on that back piece, but I accidentally put the flower stem in first. Also, I just don't think it would fit in that tiny gap, so I'm kind of happy with how that turned out. Then with the little pathway up the front, I used a bunch of tiles, kind of steering it towards the left a bit, because ideally this is where the driveway would go. However, I didn't really have enough pieces pieces to do that driveway, or, you know, the car itself. Maybe if I bought a bunch of pieces, I could mock privet drive, but honestly, I like the original house's design, I think, a bit too much, so I didn't really want to adjust it too much. Another big change, or kind of big change, I say big change, it's a really tiny change, was swapping out this bar piece of the gutter. The original one was too long that it kind of sat on top of this stud and would poke out a bit. Now, my initial plan was to kind of push the gutter all the way up a bit, but then the top of it would not line up with the actual gutter railing of the top of the house. So instead, I just swapped it out with one of those short bar pieces, which you do usually get spare in a set that has them, so hopefully you have one lying around somewhere. And then all of that is just attached to the road plates, and just like in the city sets themselves, I did add some of the 1x4s that did come in the road plates onto the green just to make it look flush and look like the end of the street actually stops there, which is also something I would have continued to do on this side. However, I did not have an extra plate as kind of a gap. I mean, I could have put the road safety sign in, but it wouldn't be able to connect to anything, so I didn't end up putting that in the end. So that is my entire mini display model and how I managed to get the road plates work for privet drive. Honestly, I think out of some of the other sets I tried to get them to adjust to, and even trying to get them work with the modular base plates, this was a lot easier. It involves a lot more kind of creativity and more of your own pieces if you have any lying around to get it to work, but I think it looks really good, and I would honestly love to have tons of these road plates and a few more of these privet drive buildings and kind of modify them to make the houses look slightly different, to make a full neighborhood as like part of a city or something. I think this would look amazing, or even for like Harry Potter stop motion. And honestly, I do think I judged the road plates too hard at first. I have some of the old base plates and I really liked them, but kind of seeing how they're brick built and how you can adjust them and kind of modify them like this, it makes me like them more. I think in general, these road plates should definitely contain more tiles, so to be able to kind of modify it. I think in general, in like future road plate sets, or even city sets for that matter, I think they should definitely include more of the tiles just to be able to kind of modify it a bit more. It's very kind of, you have to set it up this way if you want, and to have kind of no gaps unless you have your own pieces. Like a lot of the pieces I used kind of for this mock centering around the road plates, I had to take off other pieces. I don't really have that many left over from that set. I would also love to have more of these green plates, and I guess that's something I can just buy off Bricklink, kind of fill it all the way to the edge of the road plates rather than have this like tiny little grass section like this. I think that would also benefit it as kind of just a set in general, but I'm glad to see that like it was pretty easy to kind of modify it and incorporate it into a build. Like I don't have a city, but if I did and kind of this experience was very similar to what I did today, I think it would be pretty fun. And I can also see how this allows for a lot more customization, so I'm really glad that I purchased these and basically was just able to get them to work for me, because that is one thing that I was worried about. I knew I wanted to get the road plates, kind of see what they were about, but I was always wondering to myself, like, am I actually going to be able to utilize these? And I'm glad to say that I was able to. I've still got 2 of them left over and a crossing, so I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I might just attach them to the end. I mean, I guess I could try and make it go around a corner, but then again, Privet Drive's kind of a straightforward street and the bend's kind of here rather than up that way. So that's pretty much it for this video. So if you guys enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel as well down below. And if you want to see how I incorporated it into the Spring Lantern Festival as well, I did make a separate video on that, so please do check that out if you are interested. And until next time, guys, I'll see you later.